Skill-based matchmaking, or SBMM for short, in Warzone gets slandered quite a bit for people's general enjoyment of the game, and there's a lot of misconceptions out there with how it works and how people manipulate SBMM to get easier lobbies. And people do manipulate it, by the way, and have done for many years on Call of Duty. So in this video, I'm going to go through some of the common theories and myths out there right now for how people and big streamers manipulate skill-based matchmaking to get the so-called bot lobbies. Some methods in here are a little more complicated than others, so bear with me as we go through the very real approaches to this problem. We'll start with changing location to lower your skill-based matchmaking. This has been a long talked about method now, and there are some misconceptions around how it works and who uses it. A lot of people point to NetDumas, which are essentially just gaming routers, as the way to do this. The theory going that you can say you're in another far out country or region with presumably lower quality players, or just less players available to queue up with, therefore getting put into games with a wider range of players. But this isn't how a NetDuma works. What a NetDuma can do though is ensure players from certain areas can't connect with you. So some streamers do use this to stop stream snipers or hackers. So if a player who is consistently stream sniping someone is from a different area with a certain high ping, you can filter these players out and research for another lobby. NetDumas do clearly have advantages, but these don't extend to easier lobbies. When people talk about connecting to areas of easier competition, usually they mean using a VPN. A proper VPN, in theory, does get you into areas where there are more consistent, easier lobbies. This is largely due to the player base being smaller, so lobbies are just populated with whoever has a decent connection and is searching at that time, rather than having a pool of hundreds of thousands of players. But often the connection is so bad when doing this approach that it isn't worth it for most players. Now, there are no lag VPNs, or open VPNs as they're also called, which work in a slightly different way. They supposedly offer no speed decrease or packet loss or anything like that, but do put you into areas of lower competition, i.e. with lower SBMM. They're able to do this by redirecting only a fraction of your connection compared to normal VPNs, which redirect all of your connection through the servers. Now, this only appears to work for PC, but absolutely does work, and many people do use it. A lot of streamers and content creators out there do, with some people like Hydro just openly saying that he does. But really it becomes a bigger problem when the top players start using it in tournaments to win money off people. If you seriously want to get into easier lobbies on Warzone and you're on PC and you don't mind paying for it, then this is a method that works fairly consistently, it seems. Although as more people become aware of it, these people using it end up queuing against other top players in these random lobbies across the globe. On the same sort of theme as this, where you live can have a pretty large impact on the strictness of the skill-based matchmaking you receive. If some places have a higher population density, so more people are playing at the same time, Call of Duty just has more players to match you up with. I admit there's not much you can do about it, but it's good to know. The methods discussed so far are about lowering the amount of players you're matching against, so Call of Duty just puts you into a game with anyone that's looking to get into a game at that time. So a top player can match against average players, for example, and the last way to do it is simply to play late at night or early in the morning. This has been a proven method for years on COD, even before Warzone. These off-peak times mean it's more of a mosh pit of different abilities in the games. It's a similar story in limited time modes on Warzone, but it's not clear whether it's because less people are playing them or it's by design by Call of Duty. But these limited time modes are without a doubt generally easier for me, and lobbies have bigger mixes of ability. Next up, and specifically to PlayStation players, I recommend turning off crossplay. Not only does this mean you avoid the top-end players who are usually on PC with their various FOV and system advantages that they have, but again it can mean they limit the pool of players that they're being matched against. Okay, next up is one of the more obvious ways to get easier lobbies, but it absolutely works, and that's reverse boosting. This is largely based on your last few games. And if Call of Duty think you're having the worst time ever and getting destroyed, they don't want you to quit. So they give you an easier skilled lobby. If you don't care too much about your KD or score per minute, you can simply tank these stats. So just intentionally do a bad few games in a row, and you'll then be put into much easier lobbies for 1 or 2 games. This can be quite time consuming and impact your stats a lot. You can kind of end up doing reverse boosting by accident if you are trying to do camo challenges or specific difficult challenges in your games. For example, if you're trying to destroy vehicles with launchers, you might not be getting your usual amount of kills. So when you complete your challenge and you're ready to play properly again, you may well have easier lobbies than you normally would have. In addition to reverse boosting, some people even use burner accounts with terrible stats. So again, a bad kill to death ratio or a bad score per minute. You can search for a game on the burner account, then join a lobby, then you can join this easier lobby on your main account to get the easier game. This apparently used to work fairly consistently, but not so much anymore, due to lobbies being harder to join once they're being set up. Of course, for a slightly easier lobby, but not ridiculously easy, you could just queue up with the burner account, so the matchmaking takes an average of your stats and the burner account stats. This works when just playing with friends too. You could play with friends who have terrible stats and get into easier games. You don't even need to get them to host the lobby, since this is just a legit way of playing the game. Actually, this works out better for both you and your friends. By getting put into a lobby somewhere in between your stats, your friend who isn't as good won't be getting thrown into the lion's den in your lobbies. I mostly play Warzone with the same bunch of friends who are significantly worse than I am stats-wise, and some of the lobbies we get are just insane. So I have a 1.9-ish KD, and they range from a 0.41 to a 0.83. And we've been getting into lobbies from way down at 0.6 KD to about 1.1 KD. Whereas when I play with my other friend who's about 1.78 KD, we get put into lobbies of about 1.32 to 1.69 KD, and sometimes even higher. Now, I don't rig the system to get these easier lobbies when playing with my friends. I just like relaxing and having a laugh with them, and then the easier lobbies are kind of a little bonus, for me at least. Now lastly, solos appear to give easier lobbies than squads. I'm not exactly sure why this is. It might be because sweaty players usually are in squads anyway, since they played the game a lot and they know a lot of other players, so they just don't hop into many solos. I really don't know. But when I do play solos, which I admit is rarely, the lobbies are usually at a lot lower KD than if I solo queued a quads. That being said, if you do fill up with randoms in quads, these games are usually slightly easier too for whatever reason. Maybe they think that a bunch of players who don't know each other are gonna be worse off than teammates who play with each other all the time, so they give them a bit of an easier time of it. I don't know. So they're all the various methods of getting easier lobbies in Warzone. Some of them are more ethical than others, and like I said, I only get them from just playing with friends. Maybe if I was getting trashed every game, I'd get annoyed enough to use some of these other techniques, I don't know. But remember, skill-based matchmaking is in the game to allow more enjoyable games for everyone. Imagine a brand new player coming up against you. It's not that fair, is it? The same can also be said of disabled players. At the same time, I do think SBMM is a little too strict for the majority of players. Maybe a system that protects the lower 10% of players, but lets everyone else have a kind of free-for-all would be best. I really don't know. But that's everything from me for now. Let me know what you think down in the comments, and whether you've used any of the methods mentioned in this video. I did quite a bit of research to try and cut through the smog that SBMM manipulation has become, so if you did enjoy the video, be sure to give it a like and subscribe. See ya!